Hey, what's up? I'm back with this next part in this mixing series. We're going to dive into the drums. Over the break, I listened to this on my speakers and made some adjustments. So let's dive into Reaper. We had Toneforge Jeff Loomis on both the left and right, but I changed it to a 5150 on the cab for the left. And then I have a Joey Sturgis Tones Balanced One plugin from, I'm pretty sure it's the Conquer All. I don't know. I have all Joey Sturgis Tones, pretty much everything he makes. It's one of them things. And I also have on the middle guitar, straight up the middle, I have the Dino's Disruptor Chunky Palm Mutes 3. And I've tweaked them a little bit. And I also added the Joel Wanasek guitars and Joel Wanasek bass to the guitar and bass buses. So let's check those out. As you can see, Joe Wanasek's guitar just kind of, it's like a dynamic EQ that just takes out the low end. That's why it's called the Chug Slayer. It's pretty much only compressing those low end palm mutes. And then on the bass, it's got it to where it splits the top and the bottom. You can distort them, do different things. Let's solo this bass and check it out. It's quite the difference. So here it is with. All right, let's hear it without. Like I said, it's quite the difference. There's different types of distortion you can pick. You can pick it above or below the kick, but that's usually good enough for me. It's a killer bass sound. So let's check out the Joe Wanasek's guitar and see how that is working. That's with, that's without. Then after you get a good balance there, then you try to get a good balance with no plugins. As you can see, the only thing on this is amp sims and these two Joel Wanasek plugins. Alright, on here I've added my classic effects bus. I have 3 reverbs and 3 delays. One is a quarter, one is a half, and one is a really long throw delay. I use those like an analog board. We're not going to even get into that right now. First thing I want to do is dive into these drums. So, I like channel strips. I use SLATE Digital. Their SSL channel strip is my favorite. I pretty much have it on everything. Here's what I have for the buses. As you can see, it's just the SSL channel with the Brick 4KE on everything. It's just the vibe I like. Here, let's just drag and drop these. On the tracks, the individual tracks, I just set it on the track setting. As you can see, I got track, bus, and a few other settings up there that I use a lot. So on the tracks, it'll be the same. And on the buses, it'll will be the bus setting. Hence, bus setting. Anyway, let's solo these drums out. Alright, now what I do is go piece by piece. This is the kick drum. And I set this input to make sure it's not clipping, but I want it to hit around 0 on both sides. That's good for the kick. Let's check out these individual snares. We can turn those up a little bit. Alright, that's the top. Let's check the snare bottom. Alright. Let's go for these. Let's find a spot with toms. There we go. I don't know why that one's yellow. It should be purple. Let's change that. Ta-da! Reaper magic is magic. Oh, sorry. Back to setting the VCC, which is the Virtual Console Emulation. That one was pretty good. I might turn down a little bit. Let's check out this other tom, tom 2. Yep, alright. Let's find a spot with a lot of hi-hat. On some of the overheads and cymbals, I like to turn up the drive a little bit, but nothing really past 9. All right, let's go to this China. Let's just check these overheads. And while we're there, we might as well do some low pass. Let's go ahead and cut out the lows. Anything under 200 on these overheads. And let's go 150. And do the same thing on the China. And the hi-hat. Just low pass everything down below that we don't want in the mix. Let's check this room. Alright, that's good for preliminary, just setting the VCC, which is the virtual console emulation from SLATE that I use. So, I know for a fact I want to compress the kick and the snare, and I want to use a distressor. So, let's check this out. I like to go EQ before my compressors. It's different for everybody. Let's try this kick punchy and tight. That's pretty good for the kick. Alright, let's work on this snare. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is put a gate on the snare to get rid of that cymbal bleed. Slate's drum gate is one of the best I've ever heard and easy to use. Let's go with strong. That's pretty good for the top. Let's check the bottom. Now what I'm going to try to do is compress those two together on the snare bus with the distressor. I like this snare parallel smash. Overheads, one cool trick to use is a de-esser. In Slate they have the DS what is it, 902. And I also like to give it just a little bit of compression with this FG401 VCA compressor. Overhead smooth. I just basically wanted to grab some of that snare. Alright, next I'm going to duplicate this snare up and call the first one Snare X. And we are going to replace this with Steven Slate's trigger. Now we're getting into the fancy stuff. Oops. Yeah, I'm supposed to be going for a snare here. Sorry, not kick. Snare! And not a fan of that one. Let's keep looking. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Let's also do the same thing and double up this kick. We'll duplicate it, call the first one kick X, and we'll replace that with Steven Slick trigger, and just put a dry metal kick on there just to augment the other kick. Then we will take this snare X with our snare sample, and we will run it to my snare plate, which is in the effects rack that we spoke of earlier. Right here is Lustrous Plates Snare Verb. Last but not least, let's work on these toms. Find a good spot. Wow, they're not going to need much at all. Let's go ahead and put the FG401 VCA. Let's try just the room mics. Let's give that some of the same plate reverb that snare samples has. Alright. Alright, let's hear that in the mix. Let's put a limiter before the trigger and see if we can straighten this dude out. Re-limit should work just fine. Go with constant gain for now. Let's make sure it's before the trigger. See it's grabbing the top of those. Maybe raise it up a tiny bit. Let's go with, let's put that back. Minus 11.5. Then I'll unclick this and make this one minus 9.5. Not plus. And then click constant gain again, so when I move this, it'll adjust together Let's see how we do that. Here, let's make that a little bit more drastic. See how we're getting consistent snare hits going into the trigger now. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Consistent. And limiters, I learned that from Joe Wanasek. Limiters can do a lot that maybe weren't even designed to do. You got to think outside that design. Here are those drums with my processing. Here it is, raw drum tracks without my mix, without my processing. It's a great raw drum sound. Let's add my magic back to the mix. We just got it slamming. Let's add that back to the full mix. That's just a preliminary mix. We still got to add some more stuff. But get with me on this next episode and we'll dive into these vocals and start getting everything set up to really dive into a mix. All of this stuff right here is just prep work. Picking out triggers, picking out snare samples, all that good stuff. So stay free.